in high definition from KGMB and KHNL. This is your source for breaking news in the morning. Hawaii News Now Sunrise.
Coming up on 5:30, it's been 1 week since the eruptions began. 15 fissures have broken out in that time, and nearly 30 homes were destroyed. The lava activity is quiet for now, but the earth is still shaking. We're going to tell you how many quakes
Good morning, this is Tina Neal, the scientist in charge at the U.S. Geological Survey's Hawaii Volcano Observatory. Eruptive activity is lower east pause brief. High levels of tracking, communicating. Away as some of the expect more of those. They could be Geo and USGS.
Puna felt just this morning.
Where's the photons? Oh, right there, look, people.
Right here.
Right there, you see that, look. Oh, more than 4.
Complaints come in about how donations are managed at shelters for evacuees, how the Red Cross responds now to claims that supplies were being withheld. Those stories coming up. First, though, good morning, Lacey.
Good morning, Steve. Well, let's head straight into Campbell Industrial. We've got a crash involving a semi-truck. This is along Kalailua Boulevard near Malakole, just south of Malakole. It's right above Kauhi, near the Habitat for Humanity building. Now, according to HPD, we're not hearing of any serious injuries. Thankfully, we do have tow trucks on the way. Now, initially, no traffic was being allowed through, but we are hearing from police that they are at least allowing some of that traffic flow in both directions. So do expect a slowdown again if you're traveling into the area. If you did maybe want to use Hanua Street instead, that may be a safer option. But for now, expect that slowdown along Kalailua Boulevard near Malakole as HPD works on that accident. We'll continue tracking that. Now, from the west side, we're up to an hour drive now from Waianae to downtown. It is backed up in Kunia. So far, light ride through the merge. Once you get to Waikele, if you did want to use that zipper lane, clear all the way through. Now, out of Eva Beach, Fort Weaver backed up to just about Renton Road. We're not yet seeing it reach Geiger. Meanwhile, up in central Oahu, we're clear on all routes. Town spots breezing in past the Middle Street merge. But just a reminder, if you're traveling eastbound on the H1 freeway, trying to get to Pearl Harbor, taking that off-ramp, you can see it is backed up once more this morning. Heavier traffic expected through that IAEA stretch. That's your traffic. Dan's got your weather.
So beautiful, the harbor at this time of the morning, about 25 minutes before the sun rises. Just gorgeous. That's Aloha Tower in the foreground. Reef Runway out there in the distance. Here's the sunrise, 5:55. 7 o'clock it'll set tonight. The UV is at 12. And if you're wondering how strong that is, most places in the world, their scale goes to 10. So that's 2 above the max in most places in the world. So it's strong. Make sure you got the sunscreen on. Just make sure it does not have any of the oxybenzone. There's the temperatures and the conditions across the state. 62. That's a cool start to the day for Kahului. 64 is in Kaunakakai and in Lanai City. We've got 73. We're on our way to probably 85 today. That's a number we haven't seen in a while. So that's going to be warm, especially with the trade winds gone. It's light and variable winds. Showers still kind of pushing into the windward sides. We might see some showers develop in interior sections this afternoon. Trades will be back. it looks like, on Saturday. Steve, over to you.
All right, thanks a lot, Dan. Thank you, Lacey. 5:33, Pu'u has been rumbling this morning. The USGS says that there have been at least 24 earthquakes since midnight. Of them, 10 were measured at a magnitude of 2.8 or above. One was a magnitude 3. There have been hundreds of earthquakes, as you know, since last week when Kilauea's volcanic activity got underway in the first place. The largest on Friday was, of course, a magnitude of 6.9. Today marks 1 week since Kilauea erupted. 15 fissures have broken out. At last report, the lava activity has gone quiet, but civil defense says the vents are still releasing some gas and steam. About 117 acres have been covered so far by lava. 36 structures have been destroyed. Most were homes. Police evacuated 10 homes on Alaili Street, just west of Highway 130, because of steaming cracks. About 2,000 people have been evacuated since the eruption began. A 29-year-old Pahoa man has been arrested for allegedly stealing from a house that had been evacuated in Leilani Estates. Police say the homeowner was returning to grab some of his items yesterday when he caught the suspect leaving his house with his belongings. Police officers and the National Guard are enforcing the evacuated communities to prevent looters. Authorities say those who commit burglary during a state of emergency can be jailed for up to 20 years. The Red Cross of Hawaii is dealing with complaints about the way it manages donations.
Where the pitons? Oh, right there, look, people. Right here. Right there. You see that? Look. Oh, more than 4.
That video by Beverly Medeiros has been seen more than 60,000 times on Facebook. She says donations have been pouring into the Red Cross shelter in Pahoa, but volunteers are reluctant to hand them out. Now, Red Cross of Hawaii CEO Coralie Matayoshi says that she takes these claims very seriously, but she also says her volunteers are doing their best to manage a large volume of goods while adjusting to the changing demands of the evacuees.
It hurt the heart because it's like you're seeing all of this. They've lost houses. They're losing their livelihood. They shouldn't have to suffer even more.
We put out as much as we could, and then of course there's some in the back, and when the things run out in the front, then we bring some from the back.
Matayoshi admits it's always a challenge to distribute donations fairly. She says those who need more supplies should ask the shelter manager. There are 50 people on Hawaii Island helping the 250 evacuees. We're told 49 of the 50 are volunteers. Our coverage continues this morning. Mileka Lincoln is going to be live starting at 6 a.m. from Pu'u. Stay informed throughout the day. We're updating the situation online, on social media, and of course, our mobile app as well. Hazardous.
5:35. Good morning. The Hawaii Association of Professional Nurses says its conference the weekend after next in Hilo is still on. Attendees will stay at the Naniloa. The conference is Friday and Saturday of next week. A new state report says 9% of our visitors last year stayed in timeshares. And despite new timeshares coming onto the market, they ran almost 90% full, although that was not as full as the year before. Honolulu-based Trinity Investments with Oak Tree Capital buys the Hilton Hotel at Cabo. Price tag face down. Hawaiian Telcom posts a winter loss of $6 million. Landline losses offset growth in every other department. They also spent a lot of money rewiring their network for fiber. Hawaii general excise tax receipts up 5% since the current state fiscal year began last July.
Be ready for something like that. And aloha, give you guys a call back. Aloha. Everybody, good morning or good almost lunchtime. So just to give you guys a heads up, man. No fissures has opened up, and but just to give everybody a heads up on my end. you know, so today we have some bad winds. So we have variable winds, so not really predictable where the winds are going. But right now the SO2 levels in Leilani looks pretty bad. So I am in I was headed down to heard there's some cracks that is developing on Highway 132. Headed down to Pu'u. Looks like there might be something happening down here, but not too sure. But everybody in Nana Valley, oh, if you guys get asthma or anything like that, get out of here. Look, so ambulance is going down right now towards Pu'u way, but not too sure why. But just to let everybody know, the Nana Valley, the air quality is horrible, and being so close to the eruption, it's it's not really good to be breathing this kind of stuff. So yeah, so I'm headed down towards where the cracks were at, and seeing if there's any new development of fissures opening up. But there's over 30 earthquakes in the last 12 hours in on Highway 132 and just due south of Highway 132. So yeah, that's what's developing now. The wind today is at a variable speed. It's not really blowing that much, so the air quality near the eruption area is not good. Tons of bad gases, SO2 kind of lingering in the air, and it's bad to be inhaling this kind of stuff. So my best advice is go with your judgment on this one. If you guys can't breathe or anything like that, get out of there until go someplace else that there is no SO2, or just hang around in Pu'u or something. But even Pu'u there's some smell of it down in Pu'u. So I'm here in headed out to Pu'u. So again, SO2 gases in Nana Valley, not a good thing to have it there. You guys cannot, there's no eruptions or anything like that, but just the levels of the SO2 is pretty bad. So to give you guys an update.
You're watching Hawaii News Now Sunrise. And now, weather and traffic every 10 minutes.
5:40, you may want to hold off on the H1 freeway getting into town. We've got some really heavy traffic right here at the Joint Base Pearl Harbor Hickam Nimitz off-ramp. You can see both lanes of traffic. It is solid. In fact, if we flip the camera around, traffic flow on the H1 freeway heavy before the Radford Drive overpass. So in the meantime, Moanalua Freeway, nice movement from Palava and continuing through the Fort Shafter Flats. In fact, if you stay with Moanalua Freeway, you're going to breeze through that Middle Street merge once you get to the H1 freeway. I do want to head back toward Campbell. We're still tracking this accident involving a semi-truck, Kalailua Boulevard near Malakole. This is just above Kauhi. Now, HPD tells me they've temporarily got one lane blocked off on Kalailua Boulevard as tow trucks work to hook up the vehicle involved. No word yet when they plan on reopening it, but overall expect some heavier traffic. In the meantime, you may want to try out Hanua Street if you're trying to get lower into the Campbell area. We'll keep an eye on that. Now, traveling in from the west side, not only are we heavy through Kumia, but now solid through the merge. We're up to an hour ride from Waianae to downtown. Got your traffic. Dan's got your weather.
Well, the trade winds have taken a couple of days off. We got light and variable winds. Still an overall flow from the east, but locally the winds will be light and variable. You can see how the arrows are pointed every which way. Let me get this in motion. The last 12 hours of satellite and
another concern about a possibility of an explosion from Halimau and all the lava is explosions at Puna Geothermal Venture, the power plant close to the lava breakouts on the northeast side of Leilani Estates. And that's housing tens of thousands of gallons of flammable gas that still hasn't been removed. Today, Governor David Ige said if PGV doesn't act fast to remove the hazard, the state may step in and take action itself. Bridget Namata has more.
Puna Geothermal Venture's location is in the lower East Rift Zone and very close to the lava breakouts.
I traveled out to Leilani Estate Subdivision, was able to tour around some of the existing fissures, and certainly that brought me to the conclusion that we needed to take decisive action.
Ige said he spoke with PGV and asked them to quickly move all hazardous materials, like its highly flammable pentane gas.
You know, I think it's a couple of different things that we are concerned with. Clearly, the pentane is one, and we are evaluated. There has been discussions or estimates that should all of the pentane on site explode, that the blast radius might be as much as a mile.
The facility is safe for now. The governor says it's shut down as part of an emergency procedure. We reached out to Puna Geothermal. We did not hear back. But a county spokesperson tells us it's been in contact with the company and it's working to get the hazardous material out of the area and into Shipment Industrial Park in Kea'au.
To that, PGV briefed us this morning and said that they were moving of the 60,000 gallons of 67 plus gallons of pentane. They were moving it to Shipment today. 15,000 gallons was moving over to Shipment. And then in the next couple of days, the remaining 50 some odd thousand gallons are being moved to Shipment. And it'll be totally removed.
Bridget Namata, KHON 2 News.
The Tourism Authority says 9% of all our visitors last year stayed in timeshares. 9% of all visitors. Average timeshare stay was long, 10 days. Timeshares ran almost 90% full collectively.
Earlier today, they fear an even larger steam explosion is imminent. Officials don't know exactly when it could happen, but as a safety precaution, they have decided to close the majority of the national park Friday. Only the Kahuku unit will be open during its normal hours. Experts say an explosion could send rocks flying and cause serious and even fatal injuries.
If an explosion happens, if you're near the crater within half a mile or so, then you would be subject to a bombardment by ballistic blocks weighing as much as 10 or 12 tons. If you're within several miles, then you would be subject to falls of marble-size rocks, ash, finer grain material.
Our Mahealani Richardson has more on the potential danger from Hawaii Volcano's National Park.
Well, the Park Service says it'll shut down most of the park on Friday, and it'll be closed indefinitely because of the possible dangers from a steam-induced explosion, which is very rare. Now, earlier today, we saw other rare events, and that was an ash plume. Right now, we're seeing a more normal event, but it's been quite a day for the visitors here. Now, earlier at 8:25 this morning, the USGS says an explosion was triggered after a rockfall from the steep walls of the crater, and that sent magnificent plumes of dark ash high into the air, maybe as high as 6,000 feet, according to experts. And this appeared to happen several times during the day, maybe 4 to 5 times, and each time people say they heard a low rumble before that dark ash started to rise. Now, geologists say they found lava fragments that were thrown from the lava lake, showing just how forceful this has been. Now, that lava lake has dropped more than 700 feet, and geologists say if the lake drops below the water table, that would mix the lava and gas with the water, potentially causing a more violent eruption of steam.
And there's a gas explosion basically when the rocks hit the lava lake, and it's shooting up into this dramatic ash cloud. And that's what we saw at 8:30 this morning and a couple other times since then. So it's exciting. It's open.
The explosion this morning was gases from the lava being released and pushing the ash and dust upward. If the lava lake drops below the water table and water mixes with the lava, then we get a steam explosion, and it's just can be orders of magnitude larger.
It's more than we've ever seen. I've been coming up here for, I don't know, decades off and on, and there's never been this kind of action, so it just really feels like something's about to happen.
Now, scientists are closely monitoring the activity at the crater, and they said that today's explosions, those ash plumes, were incredibly rare. They say if there's an indication again that a steam explosion will happen, that's when the entire park shut down. And again, they're planning to shut down the park on Friday, and it'll be closed indefinitely unless something changes once again. I'm reporting from Halema'uma'u Crater, Mahealani Richardson.
Happening now at 5, fears of fire and fumes as yet another lava vent opens in Puna.
A 15th fissure has broken out in an area of serious concern. Civil defense officials say it appears to be heading east toward Puna geothermal venture, but the state says there is no imminent danger to the area. The efforts they're taking to mitigate threat.
An explosion sends dark plumes into the sky, while geologists say this may be a sign of more to come.
Steady trade winds continue across much of the state, so the air quality is good except for on the Big Island. However, lighter winds are due in soon, although fog might not be a problem for us. I'll tell you why coming up.
Plus, a remarkable road to recovery.
I had a compound fracture in my arm,
How this triathlete is coming back from a crash and the actions the city is taking to stop drifters.
In high definition, from KGMB and KHNL, this is your source for breaking news. Hawaii News Now at 5.
We are tracking 2 developing situations on the Big Island tonight. At Halima'uma'u Crater, a giant plume shot up at Hawaii Volcano's National Park. The big concern that the lava lake could drop below the water table, setting off an explosive eruption.
And at Leilani Estates and Lanipuna Gardens, another fissure opens as a line of eruptions gets closer to the Puna geothermal venture. That fissure caused more emergency evacuations in the area. This is on the south side of Poho'iki Road and Leilani Avenue.
Yeah, it's in the same area where a water main ruptured. It's actually less than a mile away from the Puna geothermal venture plant. Hawaii County Civil Defense says the eruptions have left at least 9 roads impassable.
Highway 130 between Malama Street and Kama'ili Road and Poho'iki Road between Highway 132 and Hinalo Street are closed. We've also learned that the Hawaii National Guard is beefing up patrols in Leilani Estates. Residents there are worried about looting. At least 1 person was arrested accused of burglarizing a home that had been evacuated.
We have team coverage tonight of the story, and we begin with Mileka Lincoln for the very latest on the eruptions. Mileka.
Aloha, Sean. Yes, Hawaii County Civil Defense Agency officials confirmed a 15th fissure had developed on the south side of Poho'iki Road and Leilani Avenue just after 1 o'clock this afternoon. Now, what we are waiting to hear from civil defense officials is exactly how fast that flow front is moving. And because we have not been provided with that information yet, it's unclear exactly where it is right now. But again, that fissure, we are told, was heading east, and that is in the direction of the Puna geothermal venture plant. And that, of course, is a major concern for residents who are aware of the 60,000 gallons of pentane which are being stored on that plant property, a highly flammable liquid that is stored on site. Some families who live within a mile of that PGV property radius say they aren't taking any chances and have volunteered to evacuate because of rising concerns about their safety, which they say has been escalated by a lack of information.
That's scary. When everybody that you talk to who knows someone who works at PGV says they're not being told anything. Everything seems to be going on under the cover of secrecy, a lack of clarity. Even on PGV's website this morning, there's no update at all. They don't even acknowledge what's going on.
Now, we were at Highway 130 and Pahoa Kapoho Road when we saw a truck which sources tell us was transporting pentane away from the PGV property this afternoon. Civil Defense Administrator Talmadge Magno says crews would be relocating 12,000 gallons of pentane to Shipman Industrial in Kea'au today. But we have heard from sources who say at this point approximately 30,000 gallons of pentane have already been moved off the site, and that the remaining pentane would be evacuated in the next 10 to 12 hours. I also spoke with hazmat sources who say pentane's chemical characteristics are rather similar to gasoline, including their flammable range. From a fire standpoint, that means the hazards would be similar in terms of how gasoline burns. Pentane's potential threat, I'm told, would be dependent on what kind of container it's being stored in. If it can vent and burn, then even if crews weren't able to move it from the PGV site before the lava flow reaches it, it would simply create, I'm told, a big fireball if ignited, not an explosion similar to a bomb. And again, that's because I'm told it has the same chemical composition as gasoline. Now, I'm also cautioned that this would be a different story if for some reason the pentane is being stored in a pressurized container. Hazmat experts say a reference they're using to determine the potential threat is the DOT's emergency response guide. Now, neither pentane nor gasoline have requirements within that response guide that mandate an evacuation or response zone. In other words, the hazard is not as severe as other chemicals, meaning there is not a required isolation zone. However, in an abundance of caution, Hawaii County Civil Defense Administrator Magno says they are telling folks that that radius is going to be just outside of the 1 mile that they can tell people they believe is safe. Of course, this situation is continuing to develop, and we will bring you the very latest as it does. Reporting live here in Pahoa, Mileka Lincoln, Hawaii News Now.
All right, thank you very much, Mileka. And the latest vent to open sent families fleeing from the area. Take a look at this video from Alani Puna Gardens resident who had to pack up their belongings and leave their home behind. They were ordered to evacuate as sulfur dioxide filled the air.
First we heard the siren, then they personally came to each house and said evacuate, evacuate, evacuate.
The street was alive with emergency vehicles and we were told nobody was being let in. That's it.
Officials are closely monitoring the air quality in that area, but families are still waiting and watching for their next opportunity to return home.
Meantime, as Mileka mentioned earlier, efforts are underway to quickly remove pentane gas from the Pu'u geothermal venture power plant. The movement of the pentane gas is something state officials wanted days ago. So what took so long? Lynn Kawano was at a press conference with the governor about that issue. Lynn.
Steph, it was clear Governor David Ige was not happy with the slow response from Pu'u Geothermal Venture. The governor announced he signed a supplemental emergency proclamation, which allows him to take action regarding private facilities like PGV. He says they want to work with PGV, but the removal of pentane gas should have been done last week.
Thursday and Friday of last week, we had already identified that as an issue and had made a request that they move it off-site as soon as possible.
And what was the reaction you got when you requested that right away?
They said they would get on it, and it's still on the site, and that's why I'm taking this action today.
A response team has been activated, including Big Island Mayor Harry Kim and PGV representatives. The state is also getting input from geothermal experts on the mainland. The state says there is no immediate danger right now, but the movement of the pentane gas has been expedited and should be off-site by tomorrow. I'm Lynn Kawano, Hawaii News Now.
Okay, thank you very much, Lynn. Well, geologists warned that there could be explosive eruptions at Halima'uma'u crater at Kilauea.
That's after an explosion happened this morning, sending massive plumes of dark ash into the air. Mahea Lani Richardson joins us live at the Hawaii Volcanoes National Park with the details. Mahea.
Aloha, Steph and Sean. Yes, I'm here at the overlook of Halima'uma'u crater, and it is safe, according to officials. They say there's no danger here, and that's why many areas of the park are still open. Now, behind me, you see a white plume right behind me, and it's been going strong all day today. This has been pretty normal. It's going strong. But earlier today, something really dramatic happened. Now, USGS says at 8:25 this morning, there were some rocks that fell into the lava lake below, and that caused a gas explosion, and then large plumes of dark steam and gas and dust went up into the air, maybe more than 1,000 feet. Measurements haven't been taken yet, but it was really, really quite a sight. Let's hear what some of the officials had to say.
There's a gas explosion basically when the rocks hit the lava lake, and it's shooting up into this dramatic ash cloud. And that's what we saw at 8:30 this morning and a couple other times since then. So it's exciting. It's open.
The explosion this morning was gases from the lava being released and pushing the ash and dust upward. If the lava lake drops below the water table and water mixes with the lava, then we get a steam explosion, and it's just can be orders of magnitude larger.
It's more than we've ever seen. I've been coming up here for, I don't know, decades off and on, and there's never been this kind of action, so it just really feels like something's about to happen.
Again, quite a sight for all of the visitors here. Now, so far, the lava lake has dropped more than 700 feet. And again, if it mixes with the water, it'll cause that violent eruption. But geologists say they don't know when a steam eruption could occur, but they are monitoring it. This was one of the largest events since 2008, and there hasn't been a steam eruption, a violent steam eruption, since the 1920s. Now, again, I'm here at the overlook of Hawaii Ma'u crater. It is open to visitors. The Park Service says if there is any indication of a steam eruption, one of those bigger, more violent eruptions, they will shut down the park ahead of time. But for now, it is open, and again, it is quite a sight. I'm reporting live from Hawaii Ma'u crater. Mahealani Richardson, Hawaii News Now.
All right, thanks, Mahea. Let's find out more about what causes those explosions at Hawaii Ma'u.
Yeah, Guy Hauke shows us what happens when the lava lake gets too low, Guy.
Well, it's amazing to see, but obviously it could be very dangerous. Up until all the recent activity, Kilauea's lava lake had been bubbling very, very quietly. But with the lava draining out into the East Rift Zone, the magma column feeding the lava lake has dropped, and that likely helped to form a blockage with the cooling, receding lava, and that allowed pressure to build. And today, with the rock fall breaking that blockage, you get that large plume that happened. But if the magma column drops below the water table, then you can get an even more explosive type of clearance. Think of dropping some water onto a frying pan. But this time, you're talking about rocks, maybe giant boulders, along with steam and ash being expelled. Now, the scientists just aren't sure when or if it will ever happen again. So stay tuned. Here's what else is going on. The prevailing trade winds continue to push the volcanic emissions to the south and southwest of those eruption zones. The heaviest concentration of the sulfur dioxide is this in red. So it's still a dangerous situation for those communities downwind of the eruptions. Now, the rest of the state is actually looking pretty good. The fog plume expected to stay to our south. Even as the winds lighten up tomorrow, the southerly flow is not expected to be strong enough to bring up the fog. However, locally produced haze is likely. So even though the air quality will be worse tomorrow and on Friday, we really aren't expecting fog. The cleaner air is due back on Saturday as the trade winds pick up again. I'll have the rest of the forecast in a couple of minutes.
All right, thank you very much, Guy. And you can go to HawaiiNewsNow.com for more details on the ongoing Kilauea eruption. That's also where you'll find extended interviews along with videos and a slideshow of the lava.
And make sure to stay with us throughout the night on KGMB, KHNL, and K5 for new information on the eruption.
My number one goal is to be able to walk again.
Hit by a speeding car on Tantalus, a Hawaii triathlete shares her painful road to recovery.
All right, so we've got some kind of red smoke over here. Heading off down toward west-northwest of my position. Looks to be at least 5 miles out, but it's really hard to tell. I can't see the base because of the foliage. Keep you informed. All right, so we've got some kind of red smoke over here. Heading off down toward west-northwest of my position. Looks to be at least 5 miles out, but it's really hard to tell. I can't see the base because of the foliage. Keep you informed.
Welcome back. 6:55. The president told the crowd of military.
Good morning, everybody. Today I'm in the morning. This is my update, but we can't go live because there's no service here. We wanted to check out our neighbor communities around here. We are in Opihikau right now, and the SO2 levels are horrible, are bad. It's actually like 5 parts to 1,000. So yeah, I wouldn't be down here, but there's tons of people down there. I'm gonna post some pictures of how everything looked down here, but it's bad. And the SO2 level. But check this out. We've been checking this out over here, and just wanted to show everybody what I've been seeing all around. So all the trees out there is dying. Check it out. All green leaves all on the ground. Check out the green leaves falling. Tons of green leaves falling. Hold it. Hold it. You guys can see. You guys can see so much green leaves falling over here. You guys see all the green leaves falling? All in the background. So this is Opihikau. This is bad. Bad SO2 levels. Anybody, we can donate some stuff to Opihikau people. They don't want to leave because there's a lot of people that looting down here. So if anybody out there can donate some masks for Opihikau people, check it out. So much leaves dying, dropping. Look at all the leaves. All green leaves. All right, just checking out the neighbors with the crews. Woo! Hello, everybody. Have a good morning.